So I'm doing another update on quitting weed. I thought I was on like day 6 or 7 now, but I looked at when I did the last video and I'm on day 5 now. This is like nighttime, day 5. Yeah, it's been really good. I have a new level of social freedom, I feel, and I was getting better with that with weed. I was finding, for example, like in the past, I never could have smoked weed and gone to a social event with strangers. I was doing that even while I was stoned here. Like I was going to like groups and stuff and being high, but I had to push through it. It was a bit like I was underwater, and like trying to exercise. It was kind of like I could do it, but it needn't have been that difficult. And I'm finding now I'm just caring less. I used to always be so paranoid that people would like see me, like even though I know like 2 people in this city and there's like a fucking million people here, I would just always be like, oh, someone's gonna see me, someone I know, or just like stupid shit that didn't make any sense. And that's kind of fading. And I've always wondered why I'm not a person. There's just people who just do not care what people think. And I really respect that, and I value it, and I want to be one of those people. And I've always wondered why I'm not, because I feel inside me I am. I feel I can get to a point where I just don't care about superficial social stuff and other people's judgment and things like that. We all do to an extent, but I feel like when I was younger, for example, I was quite. I think because I was such a weirdo when I was younger, I developed this kind of way of being where I just like didn't care. It was a bit much. I think I was pretty off-putting. But I sort of stopped giving a shit, and I kind of became like, I would just do crazy shit just to prove like that I didn't care. I didn't care what people thought of me. I'm not going to be like that, but I do feel now like I'm getting closer to sort of not really caring. I've been kind of trying new things socially and just like randomly talking to people and stuff, and I feel very, very unbothered by it, like it feels much easier. So that's one of the main benefits. Definitely things are a bit different socially. Another thing is it's much easier to do activities late at night. Like tonight, I'd already done a workout in the day, and then I was in normal clothes like this, But then I was like, I just want to do a workout again. So I just went to the park, to the exercise park, and did one there. And it was good. It was fun, Got talking to some people and, well, that's a bit misleading. I won't say what the interaction was. It was impossible to explain and it's a bit weird, but it was an interaction that probably wouldn't have happened had I been high. And I probably wouldn't have gone out there. I did also, again, I still exercised a lot when I was high, and I think you can exercise high, and sometimes it's quite fun. But I feel now like much more ready. I just feel innately just ready all the time to do anything. And I've been reading a lot more at night and finding it much easier to read. Again, I keep, it's like I was in an abusive relationship with weed and I keep defending it, Like I was reading when I was high. I was reading, been reading this a bit, this book about pilgrimages. All that, I don't know if it's showing up backwards on there or if that's just on my thing, but it's a pretty good book. It's by John Muir. He also has another book, In Search of Nomads, which I'm guessing is just about nomads in general, because this is kind of just about pilgrims in general. It was fucking good so far, but the reason this is downstairs and not in my bed is because upstairs I have a book about Posh Pete, Pieter Triton, a drug smuggler who got done smuggling cocaine from Ecuador, and that's a little bit more my level, a little bit more my level of reading. It's a bit easier. It's just like, ooh, what happened next to Posh Pete in prison? I don't know, I had a moment there I thought I was about to fully fall off this chair. I don't know if my fear was visible on camera. I tried to just move past it, and I felt I had to acknowledge it, because I felt I might have been like, yeah, so yes, I've been reading much more easily. I don't have that like fog as much. Still listening to a lot of music and enjoying it. maybe not quite as drawn to making it, but I've just been busy. I don't know. All of this is very hard to say, but I feel good. What I keep having, again, I still keep having this feeling of like really wanting to smoke, and sometimes in the evenings it's a bit hard to know what to do. You know, I'm used to that feeling of you getting in and sitting down and being like, and like rolling a spliff, and the feeling of puffing on a spliff is really nice because you get the tobacco fix and then you get the weed flavour. You know, it tastes lovely. Smells lovely. I love the way it looks. I love getting a bag of it. I love having a big amount of weed, you know, like a big jar, and just looking at it, smelling it and stuff. But no, fuck that. Like, it's annoying as well to be always like fiending for it, you know, for another spliff, and you sort of have one and then you feel alright for a bit and then you kind of feel weird, and then it's like, you know, you got to wait until your next one, and it's just a bit of a cycle, and it's kind of a bit of a prison, really. So, oh, by the way, I've switched to 720p from 540p. I mean, it doesn't look like it. It looks fucking terrible still, but I have 540p as well. What's that even? You know, like, that's not even, shouldn't even be a thing. 480, then it's 720 as far as I'm concerned. Back in my day, back in the old days, yeah. So fuck was I saying? This hasn't gone away, the fucking short-term memory thing. Well, anyway, I don't know what I was saying, but yeah, it's been easier to do shit like that. Oh, I was saying it's nice. You know, it is nice sometimes just to have a. And I know it's like the same with drinking for a lot of people. You get in from work and you have a drink and it's like, you know, work is finished. But that urge just passes. It's just bullshit, you know? It goes away. It's like, it comes up and then you fight it and you're like, no, it's fine. And then it goes away and you realise it's a fucking pussy. It's like someone who gets in your face to like try and fight you. And then you're like, yeah? And then they're just like, they just sort of like walk away, and they you know, they don't really want it. And that's how it feels with those urges. They come up and they're like, you need to smoke. And then you're like, no, I don't. And it's sort of like, oh yeah, you don't really. And then it just like walks off, you know? There's nothing really behind it. It's a fucking mental thing. Like, at least for me anyway, it's not real really. And I also think a lot of the feelings, the good feelings you get, well, this is a you know, scientific fact when it comes to like tobacco and stuff, at least, is like, it doesn't make you feel good. It makes you feel bad all the time, and then you feel good when you have it. And so, yeah, maybe you don't have like the highs as much, like the nice feeling of having a spliff, that's gone. But in between, you feel much better. You're not like feeling all like, you know, I don't know. So it's more level. And actually, having said that, I mean, it was kind of is more level. But at times, I feel pretty euphoric. Like, I feel pretty good. Sometimes I would have that anyway when I was stoned. Sometimes, but there's times lately I just feel like maybe it's my sort of newfound freedom in my life. But sometimes I'll just be walking around. I just feel so happy. I want to cry. Like, I just feel like just feel like alive, you know. And that's really cool. And there's many ways you can achieve that, but if you don't ever have that feeling, just like sometimes I was listening to this song the other day, and I just wanted to run. I just started running. I was just like, again, I was just in normal clothes. I'm not trying to paint myself out as some sort of like wacky character here, like, oh, even in normal clothes I exercise and run like I'm fucking manic pixie dream girl. But I really did. I was just like, I just want to, like, this sort of song was kicking in. It was a bit I really liked, and it just made me want to run. I just fucking ran. It felt so good. And actually, I was high when that happened anyway. I think I am just fucking manic. But yeah, still, I've been having those types of feelings a lot, and it feels good. I feel clear-headed, ready to exercise a lot, learn a lot, read a lot, do a lot, quicker in conversation. It's easier to think. I feel sharper. I feel more ready. I do feel a little bit more aggressive, I would say. I feel a little bit ready to fight in a way that I think is like dangerous. Like sometimes I have quite like sort of imagine situations, and I'm just like punching someone, and it's like I shouldn't do that. If that situation happens, I should just walk away. You know, like I shouldn't punch that guy. And I do worry about that because sometimes in like, you know, right now I'm like cheerful, but like sometimes in the day, you know, my mood is up and down. There's a lot of shit's going on at the moment, and I'm having these like angry thoughts, you know, and I'm like, I should fucking smack that guy if I see him and stuff, you know. And then it's like later on I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I really shouldn't. I really shouldn't do that. It would be terrible. And I hope I don't. And weed definitely keeps a lid on that stuff and on like ego and shit. But meditating a lot, exercising a lot, trying to keep a clear head, so should be alright. And I don't, nothing's happening anyway. So it's good, yeah. I can understand though, yeah, why a lot of like fighters and stuff smoke weed, because I think probably a lot of them, like, especially they're in that fucking mindset all the time, you know, and then they're training all the time and they're getting like all fucking pumped and shit. I can see why some people like that need to smoke weed, and at times I feel I did need to smoke weed to keep a lid on my ego and my aggression and my fucking intense energy. But now I feel the time is right. I feel very sane, clear-headed, and, you know, ready. So, yeah, it's been good. Any other things I've noticed? No, it's just easier to fill the day with stuff. It's much easier, you know. Like often, for example, say I was watching a complicated video that was like educational, and then midway through I'd have a spliff. Then I'd sit down, and I'd be in my like fucking stoned vibe, you know, and I'd be like, maybe I don't want to watch this video right now. Maybe I'm going to listen to some tunes for a bit and then go back to the video, you know. I don't want to waste my weed and kill my buzz, man. And I'd like fucking listen to some music for a bit and then go back to the video. And like when I'd sobered up, you know, or I'd like smoke, then I'd do music related stuff or listen to songs. Then when I'd sobered up a bit, I'd do my admin. Now I can just do anything, anytime, whenever I want. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. I am enjoying it. It's but it's just, yeah. I don't know if it's just our culture, but I feel like you sort of associate. You're not relaxing unless you have like a substance, or you know what I mean. It's like everyone goes out to drink. You know, you go to a restaurant, even you have like at least like a glass of wine, and if you're at home, you know, you have a drink or you smoke weed, and that's when you're chilling. You always have to have some kind of, and it's really weird. It's weird that it doesn't make any sense, really. And I like drugs and stuff, but like, I don't think we have to look at it in that way. And I'm glad now to have had to just, you know, be, I don't know, just like feeling more normal about doing it, but occasionally it feels weird. Like I said, I think I said this in the last one, but I live near loads of bars and restaurants, so I hear people like having fun a lot, and I've not got much going on at the moment. I don't know anyone because of the pandemic and the bullshit situation I was in where I couldn't fucking go out. Turns out that was for no bloody reason anyway. Complete waste of a year and a half, right? I'm not even going to fucking go into it, but it wasn't my fault. So now I don't know anyone yet because of that. I'm starting to, but so I'm sort of, you know, chilling by myself a lot, and that's the weird irony, is like in some ways it would make sense for me to be smoking weed now, because that's kind of when, you know, when you ain't got shit to do and you're on your own, like it's a way of having like a fucking night in. But I'm glad I'm not. But it just occasionally, that sort of like I sit down and I'm like, oh, time to relax, and then but it's stupid. It's stupid to think that way, because I am relaxing. I am doing enjoyable things, and you can do that. You don't need a substance to do it. If I heard me saying these things like 10 years ago, I would have thought it was like the lamest shit ever. Like, hey man, you don't need drugs to have a fun time. I very much disagreed with that statement for like pretty much all of my adult life, but change is important. It's good to go through changes and to try new things and do new things, I think. So who knows? Maybe in 10 years I'll be a fucking junkie. Maybe I'd be doing heroin. Maybe that'll be my next stage. But yeah, it's good. I would highly recommend trying it. I really would. I've never really think about this, right? Have you ever really heard? Maybe you have, but have you ever really heard of someone saying, "I quit weed and it was like the worst decision I ever made"? You know, like I quit weed and it was terrible and it fucked up my life. It's almost always a good story. You know, people almost always say like, "Yeah, I enjoyed it," and I guess that's because the people who I don't know why it's suddenly gone dark. The people who quit weed like needed to quit, perhaps, you know, and other people it works for them, and it does. I often think, you know, Joe Rogan, he's the most successful. Like, if you think of him as he's not really an artist per se, he's like a content creator, but if you think of him as a kind of an artist and you categorize him with musicians and everyone, he's pretty much the most successful one on the planet, really. I mean, the Spotify move was a bit weird, but got a lot of money out of it. But in terms of his impact, his influence, his access to other people, the respect he has, the broadness of his audience, the amount of his influence that's like in culture now, I mean, it's unbelievable, the impact he's had, and his work ethic. And this is on top of all his crazy hobbies and shit, and all that he's like has the most active. He's living the dream. I mean, his life is incredible. He's got a family. Seems like he has a happy family. He's kept that all private. He's got all his fucking hobbies. People love him. He's got loads of mates. He's very successful. A very interesting guy, but he's still like, you can kind of take the piss out of him. He's not like The Rock or something where he's like too perfect. You know, really, I mean, Joe Rogan is like, you know, I rate him highly, and above all, his life just seems amazing. I think on his deathbed, he'll have to just be like, yeah, you know, it's fair play. Like, you know, I've lived a good life. And he's blazing all the fucking time. So, I don't know anymore, actually. I think maybe he's cut back. I don't know. But he was blazing on the whole fucking, you know, the whole ascension. So, but he's an exceptional person. He's not a normal example. And a lot of people who are very successful, you know, they don't really touch weed. There are many examples who do, but often when I think of the examples of people who smoke weed, who famously smoke weed regularly, you know, it's like Snoop Dogg. So it's like, do you really want to be like Snoop Dogg? You know, don't know. I think there are better role models than Snoop Dogg, and I know there are obviously a lot of good ones, you know, but like, even you take like Bob Marley. Look, I'm not trying to disrespect Bob Marley. Bob Marley's great, but I don't think he should necessarily be a go-to example of the type of person you want to aspire to be. You know, how many people do you know who are like, I really want to be like Bob Marley one day? You know, it's not really. There are much more. I guess what I mean is there are many, many more examples of very successful, competent people who don't smoke weed and probably would have a hard time being successful and competent if they did smoke weed, rather than the odd examples of people who do smoke weed all the time and are still really good at things. So a lot of the rappers I listen to, they're fucking high all the time, and like they write amazing, like intricate, complicated shit. And I think like, yeah, you know, maybe it helps, or at least it doesn't seem to hinder. But most people who are very successful don't seem to smoke it much. So it's pointless in a sense, I think, to cherry pick examples of people who do, because I don't think it tells you anything either way. I think you got to figure it out for yourself, basically. And the only way to do that is to have a break, especially if you're like me and you've been smoking 24/7 since you were a kid, basically. Then you need to know what it's like to have 2 weeks off at least, I think. And from what I've read, some people, they need more than that. It doesn't feel good until about a month. If they're smoking all the time and real heavy smokers, some of them say after about a month they feel amazing, but like before then it's terrible. So I guess you got to find your own way with it. I'm just reporting my experience, but I feel optimistic about it, and I feel quite able to fight the urges that keep coming up. And yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm not happy with that ending. I'm gonna do something else. Let me give you a bit of Tommy. Let me give you a little bit of... You're worried now. You don't know which Tommy this is. Tommy Robinson? Tommy Wiseau? Yeah, it's Tommy Wiseau. Don't worry. Just a little bit of Tommy Wiseau.